It's a beautiful Wednesday, July 30th, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and there are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's number one casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack match, roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And to learn more about their gaming promotions and entertainment options, all you got to do is visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards, and it is report day for the Oklahoma Sooners, Ted.
Let's go. It's here. Let's get it on.
Things get going tomorrow. A lot of meetings today. Too many meetings, so many meetings on report day. But tomorrow, the action begins. So we're going to do what we always do heading into training camp and talk about the biggest question marks for this football team.
Yep.
Heading into training camp. I will give you the honors, sir. The first tee is yours. What is your number one question
Well,
for
I'm
the
going to
Oklahoma
go.
Sooners?
Yeah, I'm going to go with. Yeah, I'm going to stay on the defensive side of the ball here and go. What happens at corner? Um, I think that the ceiling is really high at corner, but the floor could be pretty low. Honestly, we just really don't know what to expect there. Uh, in a perfect world, if you told me Eli Bowen is 100% healthy, totally ready to go, and Gentry Williams is 100% healthy, and both those guys are going to be there for the duration of the season, well, okay, maybe no big deal. We're fine at corner. But as we've seen, like it's been hard to keep those guys healthy. Eli Bowen had, I think it was a high ankle sprain, something lower leg that kept him out of the spring. And, how much has that held him up through the summer? Is he 100% ready to roll right out at the gate? We'll see. And Gentry Williams, that shoulder has been a problem. His aggressiveness and what makes him great at corner has also been his biggest detriment. He comes up and he doesn't have the little thing in your head that says go secure the tackle. Now he tries to blow everything up, which that you don't want to pull that back from. That's what makes him a great player. So it's interesting at corner what that rotation is going to look like early in camp if everyone's ready to go and who might step up and earn some playing time. Cortland Gilroy is a guy that I continue to hear a whole lot about. So there's a lot of praise thrown there.
Is
He's a
it
young
Guillory?
guy.
It's Guillory, right?
Is it
Guillory?
Guillory? I've heard it like three different ways.
The O's before the R. Guillory.
Cortland Guillory. Okay.
Nailed it. Nailed it. He's a true freshman. Give us a break, people.
True freshman, which, typically I'm very hesitant on true freshmen, but this is not one of the positions. It's one that we always talk about. Corner, wide receiver, maybe running back. Those are where you can see true freshmen come in and get a share of playing time if they can, because it's mainly can you cover? There's less thinking with some of those positions. So, and I think kind of the wild card factor is maybe Kendal Dolby. How, if at all, does he factor into that corner situation when we're trying to find our two guys? Jacoby Johnson, he's had some ups and downs, but the fact remains he's got great size, great athleticism. I mean, he's got multiple years in this system now, so you would feel like the big mistakes, kind of the holes in coverage that he's had at times, those should be really starting to be limited as you move forward. So, I mean, I would say like the picture at corner overall is pretty positive, but just not sure where all those moving pieces are health wise and there's going to be the question that hangs over at least for the beginning part of the season is if we are healthy, can we stay healthy?
I I think when you look at the defense, corner's the number one position where you go, okay, who are the guys going to be? I think the assumption is Eli Bowen is going to be one of those guys. If you can get a healthy Gentry Williams, the assumption would be he's going to be one of those guys. But how many names did you just list off, dude? 8? You
Several. I
you
mean,
didn't even mention Davon Jordan, and you and I both watched him get first team reps during the spring.
right. Yep. I mean,
So
there's bodies there. It's just,
and Jeremiah Newcomb.
yep.
I think corner is a big question mark, but I do think the coaching staff feels really good about the talent in that room.
Yep.
It just comes down to whether or not a couple guys separate themselves. And that would be my preference. Sure, you want to have depth. There's no doubt about it. You want to have a room full of guys where you feel really good about just the baseline level of play that you're going to get at the position. But we need some guys to become outliers at that position.
Yep. We do. It's been, it may be, defensively speaking, anyways, it may be or have been the most volatile position since Brent Venables has been here. There's been a lot of names in and out of those corner spots. At times we've had great play. Other times it's been lacking. That's why you've seen a bunch of guys roll through. So like it would go a long way for my mental stability if we had two guys that jog out there every single series and you feel very comfortable that they're locking down on the outside.
Wait, you'd rather have two instead of, I think, the 8 names you just listed?
Well, two and then a solid six behind him. I'll go for that all day long, but I just think we need consistency at corner. I mean, the more the secondary guys play together, the whole package 4 and 5, if you count the cheetah position, the more snaps those guys play together, and that includes practice with the first group, the better they become, the better they function. You have less mental mistakes. The communication's better. The trust is better. So hopefully we can maybe settle on something pretty early and those guys fend off everyone else who's trying to challenge to get reps.
It feels like before you head into the first game, you got to have 4. If you're playing 6 corners in a game, that's a lot. And we have seen this staff in the past play a lot of different guys at corner.
Yep.
And I appreciate their mentality on it. Like, hey, if a guy is practicing at a high level and has earned game reps, we give him game reps. Like I think that's a great way to keep your roster motivated and continue to develop those guys. But it'd be awesome to just have 2 absolute dudes at corner and then
Yeah.
a couple guys you feel really good about backing them up. But I just don't know what it's going to look like. That's probably why it's your number one question, I'm guessing.
Well, I mean, rotation at corner is good, but you got to understand, oftentimes, like we've got a safeties coach and a corners coach. We don't have just a full secondary coach. Um, and maybe it goes a different way with who's actually on the field in the game. But point is, as I jog out there, I'm the starting safety. I'm Robert Spears Jennings. I'm starting safety. I play every single series. I jog out one series and it's okay. I got Eli Bowens out there. Well, the next series, if you got a freshman out there and you don't like, they don't make some huge announcement as to who's playing where, right? But it's different. You treat a true freshman over there differently than you treat a guy like Eli Bowen who has a bunch of snaps under his belt. So, like, the shorter that rotation is, and we're talking in critical moments of football games, I think the better and more confident that secondary is going to play.
I agree. Great first question, Ted.
Well,
Really well done.
I hope all these turn out to be dumb questions because it's locked down. No point in even talking about it.
I'm with you. My number one question for the Sooners heading in the training camp is Michael Fasusi just too good to keep off the field? Clearly, the offensive line is a big talking point coming into this season, and I feel much better about the depth and the competition across the board, really at every position. But Fasusi is undoubtedly the most talented guy in that room. And from everything I've been told, he had a really good summer, looks great. Can he earn Bill Bedenbaugh's trust in camp and beat out Jacob Sexton and Logan Howland? I think he's capable of doing it, but it's one thing talking about it. It's a complete other thing going out there and doing it. And training camp is a different animal than spring ball, and it can be a lot for a young player. But just everything I understand about Fasusi is he's wired the right way, and he's going to embrace this challenge. But I think what happens with him determines a lot of what they're going to do with this offensive line from a personnel standpoint.
Yeah, it could change things dramatically.
Well, you think about Sexton, Jacob Sexton is probably the guy I'm most curious about heading into camp, but I think because what is his role for this team? He's played a lot of ball. He's got the size. He's 6'6", 320. He's strong. He's athletic. But if it's close with Fasusi, do you start Fasusi at tackle and play a veteran guy like Jacob Sexton at left guard, which I actually think guard is his best position with the way that he moves? But what's that mean for Hito Zaida, who showed a lot of progress in the back end of the season last year? So that's where Fasusi feels like the initial domino that could knock a bunch of other dominoes different directions. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if that was a good domino analogy, but I think Michael Fasusi, whether he starts or not, significantly impacts what this offensive line is going to look like. And it could impact some of the decisions Bedenbaugh has to make when it comes to the guy next to him. I don't know. I'm very, very intrigued by how Fasusi performs in camp and what that means just for the line across the board.
Yeah.
Because if you're starting one true freshman, Ted, can you start two?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you're gonna do it, I just think that he's so talented and seems to be wired the exact way you want a tackle to be wired. It just seems like it's just going to be really fun to see if he can play his way into a starting role when Illinois State comes to town.
Yeah. Well, like my question for you is, how does it change kind of the overall group, or maybe even the mindset of Bedenbaugh? I think there's like, if he earns it in training camp, that's one thing. But what if you're undecided still as you roll into the first part of the season? I mean, obviously in a perfect world, it's better to do it if you could make that move before you get there. But if you get into the season and you're still trying multiple guys at left tackle, is that a detriment to the overall group? I mean,
it's not what you want.
Handled? Yeah.
In a perfect world, you have your 5 guys 2 weeks before you play your first game. And you know how it is, man. Like you carry yourself a different way when you've been named a starter.
Mm-hmm.
You naturally, like, you just feel that responsibility. You don't want to let your teammates down, and you you can say you prepare the same way every time, but when you know you're going to play and when you know you're running out first, it it creates a natural sense of urgency.
And a confidence, like your stress level goes way down.
Right.
Like you're not hanging on every single play and doubt it and creeping in. So
It,
yeah.
and that's like on the other side of the conversation, let's say Logan Howland just has a fantastic camp. And they go, hey, you're the starting left tackle. Then what's that mean for Fasusi? Like, how does he handle that? You I just think that Fasusi in particular and how training camp goes for him and what that could mean for the offensive line as a whole. I think it's a fascinating wrinkle for this football team. I just think it's I I don't know how it's going to go, but you got a lot of guys that are going to be battling for time across that offensive line at every single position.
Well, that's what I was going to say is like, if it stretches into season, you got to think, let's just say to make things easy, you get 100 reps of practice throughout a week as the first team. Well, if you're splitting that up between two guys, three guys, it kind of digs away at everyone's preparation to a degree.
No doubt. I would like for them to just be everyone be healthy, find your best five, and let's roll. And just all the other guys better know, hey, be ready to roll. You never know with Beatonbow. He'll throw you in there without even warning you.
Yeah.
So but I just think Fasusi in particular is that's a massive question mark, especially what it could mean for the O-line as a whole.
And it's a rare situation where if you hear halfway through training camp that we've got a true freshman starting left tackle, it's a good sign, not a bad sign, right? Often it's like, oh my God, we don't have anyone. We've got to throw a true freshman out there. Like they've got options there. So if he takes that over, that's pretty telling.
If Michael Fasusi ends up being the starting left tackle for the season opener, that is an extremely good sign for what this offensive line can be.
I agree.
Because I know the floor for Howland and Sexton. If he's outplaying those guys, that means he's playing at a high level.
Yep.
So I'm excited about it. We'll see.
Yeah, I think that's going to be one of the, like when you go out to practice during training camp, there's things that you really focus on. Like that is going to be a fun little battle or situation to watch unfold.
What's your next question?
Who's going to be our star wide receiver? And I think it's a unique situation right now to where, I mean, I think a lot of people's default answer, and maybe it's the right answer, is Deion Burks. But, you know, it feels like we've heard that for a really long time and the production just hadn't been there. And we don't need to get into all the reasons why. But Burks, how about all the stuff we're hearing about Satania? Right? I mean, he was really good through spring. And then as they've gone through summer, as I've talked to some of the guys on the team, I keep hearing a ton of great things about Satania. Obviously, we got Giovanni Gibson, who, really showed out in spring until the injury. We'll see how ready he is at the start of camp. But I think there's some other names in there too, like the true freshman Elijah Thomas. I think maybe, in my opinion, has the highest ceiling of anyone in the room. Like if you're extending this thing out for his full career. So like who does Mateer begin to trust? Who's the most available throughout training camp to where, he really starts to dial in on? I don't know. It's a rare year where I think there could be 3, possibly 4 guys that you could look at and say, maybe this guy's going to be the leading receiver. And didn't even mention Jaden Gibson.
Ben Arbuckle, it is proven that if he has a star wide receiver, he's going to dial it up for him.
Beat him.
Kyle Williams last year at Washington State, 70 catches for 1,200 yards and 14 touchdowns.
That'll do.
I believe Bauer Sharp led this team with 42 receptions last year. 70 is a lot more than 42.
A lot more.
And Bauer Sharp had 324 yards receiving. He was the leading wide receiver. Now, I know last year's offense, maybe it does no good to even bring it up, but like that's what we saw a year ago. It was not good. And I think you and I are both expecting this to be a much more potent offensive attack for Oklahoma this year. But yeah, man, we've talked about Burks' talent and what he's capable of, but we haven't really seen it from him in an OU uniform.
No.
We got to see it.
Got to see it. And all of that opportunity, I think, like it hasn't been a great environment for him to thrive. I mean, I think we all know that. And with what I think we're gonna have a really good, solid run game. I think that, we've got plenty of weapons out there. It should be a great offensive environment for him, if healthy and there week in, week out. He should have a really big year.
I'm going to quiz you here.
Okay.
I know we don't like to talk about last year's offense, but this is a tough question. Can you name me the top 3 reception leaders for the Oklahoma Sooners in 2024?
Wide receiver or just in general?
In general.
You have Bauer Sharp, who you already mentioned.
Correct.
I believe Burks was still on there, even though he didn't play over like 3 games.
He is number 2.
Okay.
With 31 catches. He was number 2. There was only one other wide receiver that had more than 20 catches.
Was it Jordan?
Jacob Jordan.
Who, I mean, gets lost in the shuffle, but he had a good spring. So
just a good reminder. That guy can get open, man. We'll see what type of role he has for this team. But yeah, Sharp with 42, Burks with 31, Jacob Jordan with 27.
I looked at it. I mean, we may have talked about this, but I think we had like 8 different leading receivers in our 13 games we played.
It would be awfully nice. You want to have studs across the board. No doubt. That'd be great. But it would be awfully nice if through the first couple games, hey, when Auburn comes to town, they turn on the film and go, oh, wow, we got to take away this guy.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to dictate some of the things we're doing in coverage because he's been so good in their first 3 games. That would be fantastic.
It's what we need. It's what we need. Because that as soon as we haven't had that type of weapon really, but as soon as that happens and a defense has to focus on someone, that's when everyone else can really start to make some big plays. I like it.
2 fantastic questions from Ted so far.
I know.
You're amazing. All right, let's get to my next question. But first, taking a road trip this summer? Remember to stop at Love's Travel Stops. You can't miss the heart of the highway, and with the Love's app, you can save big all summer long. You can save 10 cents per gallon on gas and up to 25 cents per gallon on auto diesel. Save with the Love's app this summer and be welcomed by clean places and friendly faces. Certain conditions may apply. See loves.com for details.
Summer is here, and there's no better way to fire up your cookouts than with Didier Ranch's steak burgers made from 100% premium cuts of steak. These burgers are the real deal. Juicy, flavorful, and packed with that rich, beefy taste that you love. Plus, they're shipped right to your door, so you can spend more time doing what you love and less time shopping. Head over to DidierRanch.com now and use code SOONER for a special discount on your first order. Get ready to taste the best burgers you've ever had. Proudly raised 100% in Oklahoma. Didier Ranch. steak in every bite.
And we are brought to you by Simple Modern, the Oklahoma-owned company and the official drinkware partner of the OU Sooners. Summer is flying by, but Simple Modern is here to make back-to-school shopping easy. From backpacks and lunchboxes to water bottles, Simple Modern offers durable, stylish gear kids love, all at parent-approved prices. And Oklahoma teachers, listen up. Starting July 14th, nominate yourself for Simple Modern Stock Your School to win water bottles for your classroom, have your entire classroom wish list fulfilled, and receive $1,000 for anything your school needs. Voting opens July 21st, and the top 10 teachers with the most votes win. And with 10% of all Simple Modern profits going to charity, many right here in Oklahoma, you're helping Oklahomans everywhere. Simple Modern, it's good everywhere. All right, my next question, heading into Sooners training camp. Will an interior defensive lineman emerge just as a stud pass rusher? And this kind of connects to what you were saying about corner. I'm going to go in the weeds a little bit. Right now, if I was game planning, if I was an offensive lineman and I got to set the protection plan when I was playing OU's defense, I would say, guys, if everything is even, if we're not seeing a pressure look, we are sending our slide to our Mason Thomas every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't really know what they have on the other end when it comes to pass rushing. And, you know, Halton's a solid pass rusher, but does anyone else really scare you? Let's just send it to 32 every time if everything's even. Well, I'd call it 32 protection.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be awfully nice if there was an interior defensive lineman that could make teams think twice about that. Now, if another end emerges, that would be great too. Taylor Wine, PJ, Marvin Jones Jr., whoever. Okoye, whoever. But, Ted, you know as well as I do, nothing wrecks a game plan more than a disruptive interior defensive lineman.
Well, it changes everything. I mean, it changes the protection, like you talked about. Like, it's a bad sign if everyone's coming up and saying grease left and taking it to our Mason Thomas. You know, grease protection.
Grease protection. We've got grease to the right, lightning to the left.
It's
Get
also
it? Grease lightning. Get it?
I like it. I like it.
Okay.
It's also
you could have laughed. I'm just saying. I thought it was pretty good. You know, don't give me your pity laugh, Lehman. Moving on.
I think like what's not talked about is, well, yes, okay, our Mason Thomas, if someone else emerges, he's going to get a better protection combo to go against, more one-on-ones. But the other part is a quarterback doesn't have anywhere to go. And our Mason Thomas is a speed guy. And if you have a speed rusher and there's not an interior rush and the quarterback can just step up in the pocket, it makes it infinitely more difficult for him to get around the corner. If you have a guy on the inside and that quarterback has to try and escape outside or away from you can chase him down. That helps him out tremendously as well.
So it would just be awfully nice if one of those interior guys could turn into an animal as a pass rusher. And it's not just in obvious pass rush situations. Like who can go to, oh, it's run, oh no, it's pass, let's convert, let's go get him.
Mm-hmm.
This group, everyone's so excited about this interior defensive line group, including me. But as a whole, they need to become a better pass rushing unit. I went back and looked at some of the stuff from a season ago. Grayson Halton had 5 sacks. He had 30 pressures, according to Bill Conley's SP Plus stuff. But only 2.5 sacks came in those 8 SEC games.
Yeah.
Jaden Jackson had 2 sacks. 0 sacks in SEC play. He was credited with 5 pressures. That's got to go way up. Dominic Williams, all indications, he's had a fantastic offseason. He had 1 sack last year, 0 in SEC play. 4 pressures total. David Sohn, 1 sack, 3 pressures. Marcus Strong, 2 sacks. They both came against Temple. So overall, as a group, I don't know what's realistic with how college offenses operate now, like from a sack perspective, but that pressure number needs to go way up.
Yep.
Way
Well,
up. They need to, if you can't get to edges, you need to put linemen in quarterback slaps.
yep.
Like Jaden Jackson is more than capable of doing that. And I expect him to.
Well, and to me, this is perhaps the biggest catalyst for sacks that we have going for us. You think back to last season. Think about that Tennessee game and how'd they play the second half. Right?
Don't let Nico mess it up.
Totally conservative. Think about that South Carolina game where it got out of hand right away. Right? You're playing from down 3+ touchdowns. Super conservative. Think about the Texas game, right? Got a big lead. They're not going to, if you can be in competitive games or playing with a lead, you're going to get way more opportunities to get after the quarterback.
This also is connected to what you said about the corner spot.
Damn straight. Always is.
If that interior can make a quarterback feel real uncomfortable, and they know where 32 is going to be, believe me, like they know exactly where he's going to be on the obvious passing downs. But if that interior can get after it as pass rushers, that makes playing quarter a whole lot easier, man. So,
And it works the exact opposite too.
yeah,
If those corners are making the quarterback eat the ball, go to his second and third read, that clock is ticking and those guys have extra time to get home.
Stone's got a motor, needs to develop the technique. Jaden Jackson is strong, man. Needs to become more effective at using that strength as a pass rusher. Dominic Williams, they keep saying, hey, he's moving as well as he's ever moved. He's a powerful dude. Get to some edges.
Mm-hmm.
Halton, I know what I'm going to get from Halton. Like he's the most natural pass rusher among the group. But I just think the group as a whole, if they can become a more effective pass rushing unit, that can take this defense to another level compared to what we saw from them a year ago.
Yep. I'm incredibly excited about Grayson Holton. I mean, he kind of, for whatever reason, there's a bunch of big names in that D-line group. And, he maybe doesn't get mentioned as much, but if he's kept his athleticism and his aggressiveness, he's like 15 or 20 pounds bigger than he was last year. That makes a huge difference.
I like his game.
Yeah.
He's out of all the guys we got, when you turn on the tape, like you're getting the most flashes from Holton.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be real, man got paid. Go earn that money. Go. There's nothing holding him back from being an 8-sack guy. He's capable of that. He really is.
That's right. I agree.
All right. What's your last question?
Last question for me is, what role does Kendal Daniels find on this football team on the defensive side? I mean, we've talked about him quite a bit, and if he finds a home and is able to thrive in a spot, he could totally change everything for this team. 6'4", 6'5", 240 pounds, close to it, can run, great length, athleticism. Is he going to be a cheetah? Is he going to play inside backer? Is he going to play safety? What exactly is he going to do? And, does the fact that maybe he does multiple things, does that limit him? Does that hold him back? Or he's played a lot of football. Does he have the capacity to understand all the nuances of all those positions and still be able to thrive at multiple spots? Becomes far more difficult to do that. But if you've got a guy that's played some football, it's possible. Like I said, though, if he finds a home at Cheetah and they can trust him and he can still do what's required in the coverage game, but you get a 6'5", 240-pound defensive back, essentially, that's also there in the run game, blitzing off the edge where a back's got to pick him up, could be devastating. And it also gives you the availability to possibly play Kendall Dolby, who everyone on this football team can't speak, can't say enough about. They absolutely love this guy. Maybe give him the chance to move to corner, and you just improve your overall personnel on the field that much more. I mean, in my opinion, he's a swing player that if he has a good year and finds a role, it could totally change what this defense is capable of in a good way.
Can I be like devil's advocate here?
Please.
What happens if he just isn't good enough to play any of them?
Then we have what a lot of people may say is the best cheetah slash nickel in the conference in Kendal Dolby.
That's what I was hoping you would say, and that's what I wanted to remind people of.
Yep.
But I think it's asking a lot of Kendal Daniels to come in to Brent Venables' defense and to learn all of that in 6 months. At what, 8 months? That's a lot, man. But now, when we were out at practice in the spring and everything I've heard about him throughout the summer, like the guy he is obsessed with making sure he understands everything he's supposed to do out there. But it's one thing like studying, and then one thing going out there and doing it in a system that you've never played in.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like for him to just find one home so we can get really, really comfortable. And in my opinion, I think being like the big cheetah is that home, similar to what they did with Desan McCullough.
Yep.
But we'll see, man. Like he's a guy that's played a little bit of everything. I don't want to put limits on the guy, but it's just hard to think like, hey, throw Kendal Daniels out there. He's going to play 3 positions in the opener. Like that's a lot to ask of that dude.
It is. It's a lot. And I will say this. In the spring, I have a coach that I go talk to whenever I need the real. Okay. Tell me how's it going? Typically I get instantly, no, can't play him. No good. No, I get the bad side. They love him. And I think the challenge and the opportunity for him last year with Oklahoma State, because of how poorly things went, I think just the overall effort of that team went down, and it just, no one was thriving. You didn't see guys playing with their hair on fire. I think this new opportunity has lit the fuse for him. So I'm optimistic because, if we walk out there on opening day and he jogs out with that first team, I think my expectations of the defense are going to go way higher.
That's fair. I'll say this, and I'm not bringing it up to be mean. He's got to be a heck of a lot better than he was a year ago if he wants to play for this defense.
No doubt.
I went and watched every snap he played for Oklahoma State last season. And I'm not Jim Nagy or any of the guys at OU's front office, but for me, last year, his tape, he's an undraftable player.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 1 season to fix that. He knows that.
Mm-hmm.
And I expect him to be a factor. I just don't know how big the role is going to be.
He's got to beat someone to get on the field. Yeah. He's not plugging a hole. He's going to have to beat someone at inside backer or at cheetah or wherever he is. They got guys that can play that and they feel good about it. So, I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like if he jogs out there with the ones, that's telling me something.
If Daniels doesn't start, that means OU's defense is not starting a single guy they brought in from the last portal cycle.
Correct. And there would only be one guy that's a portal guy at all in Dominic Williams, who this will be his second year here. That is incredibly rare in this day and age.
That's the assumption that, hey, Marvin Jones Jr. isn't starting over a guy like Taylor Wine or whoever, right, or PJ. But yeah, that's typically a good sign.
Yeah.
If you're not bringing in guys feeling like you got to plug holes in your defense.
That's right. And it's impressive. And I know the first thought's going to be Kendal Daniels. He's a junior college guy, which different, and he's got multiple years here too.
And it feels like Dolby's been here for forever. Doesn't count.
It does.
So that's an interesting little thing we just uncovered there. How about that?
Little factoid. That's rare in this conference, especially.
All right, my last question is: does Jaren Kanak have a role? This may sound drastic, but I think whether or not Jaren Kanak proves that he can be, if he proves he can be a factor for this team in training camp, it is going to shape what Ben Arbuckle does from a personnel perspective all season long.
Yeah.
Because you have to assume coming into camp, if you ask the coaches, they're probably going, we're probably going to be an 11 team. But all of a sudden, if you get Kanak playing at a solid level, is he a tight end? Is he a fullback? Do you hand it to him a little bit? Like all of a sudden, the offense becomes way more multiple from your personnel grouping standpoint. Now you have to have another tight end emerge, whether that's Huggins or Kent or Helms, whoever. But for me, and maybe it's because I want him to succeed maybe more than any other player on the roster, but for me, it feels like Kanak and what he shows in training camp is going to determine how this offense goes from a personnel standpoint. Am I crazy? But it's just how it feels to me, dude.
It's why I love players like him. And it's kind of a forgotten spot because I think we both agree he's not going to be like he may play at some, but he's not a traditional tight end. Right?
No.
That's going to play a hand down on the end of the line.
Let me make this clear. If they try to make him fit into that role, they are setting him up for failure.
Right. And I don't think that's what it's going to be. So, all right, well, what does that mean? That means he's an H-back, fullback / H-back. Well, are they in 11 or are they in 20? You can get in 12. You can get in 22. I mean, it just opens up everything. And we know that he's one of the more athletic guys on the team. Like his testing numbers for his size are outliers. And it just opens up a whole world. But, blocking is not an easy thing to just pick up. You don't just go run into a guy. There's a whole lot to it. It's difficult. You're playing against really good players. But he looks big right now. He's close to 240 pounds. He's maintained his speed. He can really change the entire outlook, complexity, however you want to phrase it with the offense. I'm incredibly excited about him.
When you think about some of Arbuckle's core runs in his offense, and he runs inside zone and kind of mid zone and then gap schemes in a variety of ways from a bunch of different personnel groupings, different motions, like all that stuff. But split zone, stretch, counter where Kanak would be like the second puller. He should be able to do all that.
Yeah.
And the thing is like split zone, if he's the guy going back on the split zone action.
That's what I was about to say. Dangerous.
I don't see any reason why Jaren Kanak doesn't catch 15 balls in the flat where he's basically uncovered this season.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something because of the stuff that Arbuckle does from a run game perspective. Like he should be in some really good situations. They run boot. whether it's stretch, it's split zone. You'll see they changed the backfield action to where Mateer actually, and I know this is tough to believe, Ted. He doesn't open up and look at the defensive end. He turns his back to the defense and hands the ball off. And that creates boot action options and boot naked options. And Kanak should be perfect for those scenarios. Perfect.
Yep. I mean, just in the spring, whenever he was just getting introduced to the position, I saw him lined up, split out in 11 personnel as the lone tight end. I saw him in with 2 tight ends as kind of the move guy. I saw him in the I formation, right? Under center. So he's got a lot of different things that he can do. And hopefully, I mean, I would be surprised, given that we really don't have anyone else that fits that role. I would be shocked if he doesn't become a big part of this offense. And if the offensive line continues to get better and we find that we've got a pretty good group there, Arbuckle's going to want to run the football a lot. So he's going to become more and more. And it's that awesome position where you can add things every single week to throw something different at the defense whenever you've got a guy like him.
I'm just thinking of how you could use him as a fullback. If you put him in the backfield, like stretch lead, I think you call it like search.
Mm-hmm.
He should be able to do all that, going out there where he's just blocking the alley defender. Like, he's capable of doing all that. And I just think that it could, whether or not Jaren Kanak shows something in camp, I think it's going to determine just how versatile this offense can be this season. Maybe I'm putting too much on him. The guy's been playing linebacker for the last several years, but I really think that if he can figure it out, and I know that the effort's going to be there. You're never going to question the effort with that guy. It's if he can figure out the technique and understand what defenses are trying to do to you, which, once again, he should
got an understanding.
Should have an understanding of that. It could really open things up for what they can do offensively.
We might even dust off from last year the tight end jet sweep.
You just had to do it, didn't you? Just had to do it.
Hey, low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit.
Can Kanak throw to our team?
Okay, that's too much.
Okay.
That's too far.
That's where we draw the line. When you look at it, Sharp and Jake Roberts combined for 54 catches last year. Now, we're expecting a lot of those to go to dynamic wide receivers this year.
Right.
But still, 54 for the tight end position. I don't see any reason why Kanak can't catch a couple balls a game in the flat, and you just see what he can do.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's capable of more than that. I started thinking of the stuff that Lincoln Riley used to do with Dimitri Flowers.
Absolutely.
All the pop pat stuff, all the play action stuff off the counter game where you're the second puller, you're slipping that guy, running by. Like, that Kanak is capable of all of it.
We've had a bunch of those type of players here, and typically it's a piece that takes our offense to the next level.
I want it to happen. I just like the kid. And does it change your expectations for him at all that last weekend he said that he was Danny Stutzman's ghostwriter for his ex account?
I mean, I just assumed as much.
Yeah. It was kind of always my assumption. But he took credit. He took credit for anything funny Stutzman's ever tweeted.
Fair.
All right. Those are our OU questions. Pretty good. What'd you think? Any regrets?
No, I think they'll all be answered in the first week of training camp.
Sure. Sure. All right. We've got questions that we have just for the rest of the SEC in general. But first,
Schwab Meat has been smoking the highest quality meats, hot dogs, and sausages in OKC since 1912. Go to schwabmeat.com to order any of Schwab's outstanding products and use promo code OKBreakdown for free shipping on orders over $75. Schwab dogs are iconic. I like to keep it simple. Just a bun, dog, mustard, ketchup. Also, the jalapeno cheddar smoked sausage is ridiculous. Schwabmeat.com, code OKBreakdown for free shipping on orders over $75. Schwab Meat, the official hot dog of game days.
Oklahoma's favorite pub, Pub W, is a modern American pub offering a great new take on classic drinks and cuisine. They offer an extensive beer and specialty drink selection with something for everyone, and that's exactly why Pub W was voted best happy hour. And we all love a delicious brunch. Pub W brunch is served Saturdays and Sundays until 2 p.m. with some of the most delicious brunch offerings you'll find anywhere. Now open in Yukon, Oklahoma. Visit one of their 6 Oklahoma locations. Visit pubdub.com for locations and menus.
Insurica has launched a new digital agency introducing Insurica Direct. Whether you're in Oklahoma or anywhere across the U.S., they've got you covered. From small business insurance and health insurance for your employees to insurance for individuals like home, auto, and even Medicare supplements. Insurica Direct's got it all. Start your journey today at insuricadirect.com. Remember, at Insurica, we specialize in you.
Okay, time for questions for the rest of the Southeastern Conference. Ted, once again, the honors are yours. What's your first question for the rest of the league?
I'm going to start off with Tennessee. What's to become of their offense? I mean, biggest story in college football whenever Nico hit the portal and ended up out at UCLA. And I haven't heard a whole heck of a lot about what's going to go on there. And that's not the only guy they lose. They lose, I believe, the leading rusher from last year in the SEC.
SEC Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, he was incredible. They've got a lot of holes to fill. And I mean, I think that everyone would agree that Nico had his moments last year, but there was also a lot of inconsistent play, and it felt like he did hold them back on offense at times. But, I don't know that there's just a quick, easy answer for him there. And, I'm just not sure that the expectations of Tennessee and that offense it's just plug and play like it has been the last couple of years. Like, for that offense to really go, when you go back like to the Hendon Hooker days, like, you've got to have a quarterback that can absolutely sling it, that can be a threat in the run game, that can do it all for you. And typically those guys have been surrounded by, really good skill position players, and maybe they still are, but it's far more unproven than I feel like it's been since hype's been there, at least since they've got it up and rolling.
I think the Nico situation has kind of taken away from this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, they got a lot to replace.
Yeah.
I think, what is it, 4 offensive linemen? I want to say it's their top 3 or 4 pass catchers.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan Sampson, who was one of the best running backs in the country. And we'll see.
Everything.
Yeah, so everything. And then we'll see what Joey Aguilar, or what's the other kid's name? Like Jake Merklinger. What a name.
Mm-hmm.
What a name. But yeah, this has to be the most uncertainty Josh Heupel has felt in a while with that offensive unit. Now, do you just trust the system? He's a heck of a coach. His offenses produce. So we'll see. But yeah, there's no doubt that, I mean, it'd be kind of shocking if they didn't take a little step back offensively.
Yeah. That's what I expect him to take, a step back offensively, perhaps a large step back offensively. I mean, we just went through a lot of the names, and I mean, I think, is their tight end back? I don't think their tight end's back either, is he? So, no. And he had a lot of production for him last year. That's a lot to replace and expect to get the same results, especially it happened pretty late that Nico left. It's one thing to have a quarterback, transfer in January and you've got 2.5 months of preparation before you get to spring ball. It's another thing to leave when Nico left. So that set them back. Forget all the other guys that they had to introduce. Now you're kind of starting over to a degree at quarterback. So I think that's going to be tough to overcome, but we'll see. Can the system win out?
I think they're going to be really solid on defense, even though they lost.
They lost a lot on defense. They had 10 senior starters on defense last year.
I I feel like I know more about the defense than I do about the offense.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see if the disdain for Nico rallies the troops.
Hey, you got to have something to rally around, you know?
Unifying force.
That's right.
Unifying force. All right, my first question for the rest of the SEC. I'm starting with the team favored to win the conference, and that's the Texas Longhorns. Clearly, everyone is talking about Arch Manning and what he'll be. Just ridiculous expectations for him as a player. But my number one question for Texas is, can they avoid taking a big step back on the offensive line?
Yeah.
Because you lose Kelvin Banks, you lose Cameron Williams. I tried to tell y'all he needed another season. I tried to tell you. Tried to tell you. You lose Hayden Connor, who I think is a guy a lot of people don't talk about, but played a ton of ball for them, started a ton of games. And then, and my center bias is going to show here, losing Jake Majors is a big deal. Guy played a ton of football and was the vocal leader of that unit and was a good player. But all of those guys played so much football for Texas. And there's no doubt that Steve Sarkisian has done a really nice job recruiting. They've got talent in that offensive line room. But are they going to play to a level close to what we saw from them a year ago?
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that they are, even though I think Trevor Gooseby is going to be a really good player, and he did a nice job filling in for Banks when he went down late last year. I've heard really good things about Brandon Baker, but can he step in and play at a really high level at that other tackle spot? Cole Hudson, I think people are assuming that, hey, he's going to be a nice center. It kind of feels like his natural position, but I don't really know. Mm-hmm. So Arch has some serious skill talent around him. But if that offensive line doesn't play at a relatively high level, then that's going to put a ceiling on it, just how good they can be.
And they better figure it out quick, because they play at Ohio State and at Florida before they even think about going to the Cotton Bowl against Oklahoma.
I think I'm giving Texas the benefit of the doubt. I think the offensive line play is going to be solid. But in order to accomplish what they want to accomplish as a team this year, a lot of people picking them to win the national championship and win the SEC, you have to have good O-line play. Mm-hmm. You maybe don't have to have elite O-line play if you get really good quarterback play and you've got skill talent all over the place, which they do, and we'll see how Arch plays. But this O-line has to be solid for them to get to where they want to go. And it's just, you don't know. You just don't know how this unit's going to come together.
Yeah. I'm like you. I expect that they're going to be good, but I'm hopeful that they're horrible.
That's fair. Absolutely fair. All right, what's your next question?
I'll go with South Carolina. Sellers getting a ton of attention. We all know why. Incredible talent. He got better and better as the year went on last year, and he got more seat time at quarterback. Was prone to some mistakes early, and he really solidified that. Just a massive, imposing quarterback, physical guy back there that can, run the football and be incredibly dangerous there, has a good arm, all those things. But, I think that he benefited massively last year from being surrounded with a lot of good talent. Rocket Sanders in the backfield. They had good tight ends. They had an experienced offensive line, wide receivers. Like they've lost a ton on the offense. The other part, they lost a ton on defense. And what happens whenever they're forced into more shootout type of games if their defense can't hold for them and they've got to open it up? Can he be reliable when he's asked to throw the football a lot more than they had to last year?
I think that's fair, man. He is going to have to make a jump for them to be in the mix in the SEC because they lost some dudes. I mean, they
Yes.
just did, and this is kind of just how the SEC is now. It's kind of how college football is now, right? You lose guys, and okay, which recruits are really developing? Who do we need to go get from the portal? It's like this never-ending cycle. But I think the excitement around Sellers and just how good he can be, it's kind of like the Tennessee situation. Sellers and the excitement for him has kind of covered up some of the concerns that you absolutely should have about the guys they have to replace on this roster from a year ago.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, Sellers, he's so good, it'll work out.
Yeah.
Doesn't
And
always work that way.
no, it doesn't. And, if you combine what they've lost around him with, like, I see this and I consider it a coaching mistake. You often see a lot of times, whether it's a freshman quarterback, it's more so in the NFL when you've got a rookie quarterback that's starting and has a really good year. Why did he have a good year? Usually it's because they did everything in their power as a coaching staff to protect that guy from making mistakes, right? Try and throw. We're going to have a couple of big third down throws where we're going to ask you to do something big. But for the rest of the time, we want you to manage our offense. And then year two, they open things up. And what happens? You go throw a bunch of interceptions. You have that sophomore slump, right? I think a lot of times it's because they open up the entire offense to these guys. And, it's maybe better to keep it simple for a little bit more of a duration. They may fall victim to that, especially if they think that they go as far as he goes. They may try and put more on him, and that could turn bad.
We'll see. I like that one. That's good. 'Cause I do think them being picked fifth in the SEC preseason poll with all that they lost, I do think that surprised some people.
Mm-hmm.
But I want our guy Shane to have a lot of success.
I do too. I mean, you do have to factor in, though, that South Carolina is known for some spikes where they have a good year, but they don't have a history of sustaining that type of play. We'll see if he's changed that.
My next question: can Jackson Arnold make good decisions with the football? No one is questioning Jackson Arnold's physical ability. Good athlete, strong arm, has the tools to be a really, really good college quarterback. But there were a lot of issues for him, a lot of things working against him last year in Norman, no doubt. But the processing was an issue. It was an issue. There's just no denying that. And I know a lot of people think that Hugh Freeze's system is really good for him. It's very similar to what he ran in high school, this RPO heavy system. Ted, how many times did we see him make bad decisions in those situations a year ago?
Often.
Often. And I'm not trying to pile on Jackson for what happened a year ago, but I do think this is one of the biggest questions in the entire SEC. If he can process quickly and operate that offense efficiently, they got dudes at wide receiver.
Yeah.
I mean, Singleton and Coleman are maybe as good of a duo as you're going to find in college football. But when the read says, hey, you need to pull the ball, you got to pull the ball. When the read says, hey, you should hand the ball, you got to hand the ball. And if you pull the ball and you're supposed to throw the ball, you got to throw the ball where it's supposed to go.
Right now.
Now.
Not, yeah, I could honestly make the case. I know it's what he ran in high school, but it might be the worst offense for him to play in because there's so much put on the quarterback in reading and reacting right away. And if you're not confident in that and quick with your reads, it could be a problem.
It's Hugh Freeze's job to build that confidence back up. And when he takes the field to go, I'm seeing everything clearly. I'm very confident in what I'm doing. But he's got to value the football if Auburn's going to be in this SEC picture at all. Can he make good decisions with the football? If he does, it's been proven in the past. Like Hugh Freeze's system can get rolling. But they've got a veteran offensive line. That should be a good group. I mentioned Singleton and Coleman at wide receiver. Like he's got weapons around him, man.
Mm-hmm.
But if he doesn't make good decisions, they're not going to accomplish much of anything in the SEC. Maybe the better question was, hey, is Jackson Arnold a jag or is he a dude?
He may be the single player in the entire conference that has the widest gap between where the ceiling is and where the floor is. Because we know he's got a tremendous amount of just natural talent, the arm, the physical capabilities. He can run, he can move around, he can make all the throws, but he can become, very timid and bad decisions, turn the ball over very quickly. I mean, there's a wide range between what you can get from Jackson Arnold.
Were the circumstances and OU and everything that went into the season ago, was that the problem? Or did Jackson Arnold have a bigger role in the problems than maybe some people realized? We're going to see. I think it's one of the most fascinating storylines heading into the college football season. I really do.
Yeah. And we're going to be able to find out pretty quickly ourselves at home. That's
going to have a front row seat to that one. Should be interesting. All right. We got one more question each. But first, 3 things matter in banking: service, service, and service. And First Fidelity Bank's commitment to exceptional service is more than a promise. It's their foundation. FFB has been by your side for over a century, and they are honored to be a part of your journey. Banking isn't about where you've been, it's about where you are headed. Open an account at an award-winning bank today at ffb.com. At First Fidelity Bank, we go where you go. And go to opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED for 10% off our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED. Buttery soft and 10% off.
And we found some amazing shirts we need to tell you guys about. Poncho. They make the ultimate outdoor performance shirts for men. Fabric's lightweight, breathes incredibly well, and dries fast. You can get them both short and long sleeve. You can choose regular fit or slim fit, and Poncho's got great color and pattern options as well. The shirt is built for whatever you want to throw at it. Getting outdoors, travel, backyard barbecue, date night. And Poncho wants you in a shirt you love, which is why they're offering free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges. If you've been looking for the perfect shirt, something breathable that fits great, feels even better, and stands out in a good way, give Poncho a try. Go to ponchooutdoors.com/OKBreakdown for $10 off your first order. That's Poncho, PONCHO outdoors.com/OKBreakdown for $10 off and free shipping. Go try one out.
They're nice.
Yes, they are.
All right, Ted, what is your last question overall for the SEC conference?
Well, and this one to me might be the most lethal one if things go well. You look back at the season Alabama had a year ago. Transition year, Kalen DeBoer's first year there. They had a lot of moving pieces. Jalen Milroe was the quarterback, the incumbent that I don't want to say DeBoer was stuck with. It was just that would have been a very bold move if you come in, you take over and axe the returning quarterback. So um, I I'm curious to see if he's able to run his offense. He's got his offensive coordinator back from Washington. Didn't have him a year ago. And you combine that, it sounds like it's going to be Simpson there. I don't know. We'll see. They've also got the young guy that a lot of people speak very highly of. But I mean, you go back and you look a year ago at Milroe's stats. He was 64% completion. It's not terrible. 2,800 yards, not terrible. 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. In this day and age at the quarterback position, that's way too many interceptions. So if they get that passing game clicking the way we saw it at Washington with Penix, and maybe they don't reach that level, but if that passing game opens up, we know the guys they got at wide receiver. And if they can utilize those guys, Ryan Williams a little bit more, I think that there's a chance that Alabama could very quickly become dangerous, very dangerous again.
They this just in, Alabama's going to be very talented.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that they've got the skill talent that they need. You've got a bunch of guys back. They added Horton from Miami, and you just have to assume that the QB run game is not going to be such a large part of what they're going to do like it was a year ago. Now, everything I've heard is Ty Simpson's a good athlete, but I mean Milroe's a different animal.
No, you just go back and look at Penix. He hardly ever ran the football. They
Right.
want to throw it.
They want to throw it. They want to run it efficiently, build play action off of that. So yeah, I think it's going to look different. And I don't know. I just expect it to be more efficient. Milroe was an absolute wild card for them at times last season. And if Ty Simpson can just be a little more steady, even though Milroe's peaks where you're just like, wow, look
Yeah.
at this guy. Whether it was him running or the deep balls, you're just like, wow. But if they can just get a little more, just a little more level of just consistency from Ty Simpson,
Steady and efficient. Yeah.
yeah, they're going to be good on defense. They should be
Yeah.
better on defense. They got like everyone back.
No, they do. Still they have a tough schedule just like everyone. I mean, they've got that stretch where they're at Missouri, Tennessee, at South Carolina, LSU, Oklahoma. I mean, 5 straight games there. Like everyone else, it's just they better find the answer, or it could be another rough year. But I think I'm higher on Alabama than most people are, and I think it's because we're going to see Kalen DeBoer's true offense show up this year.
I like it. All right, my last question heading into camp for the SEC. Does LSU have the pieces on defense to be a true contender? And rightfully so, I feel like most people are focused on LSU's offense. Garrett Nussmeier, is he the best quarterback in college football? Could he be the number one pick in the NFL draft? Like, and the guy can sling it. There's no doubt. They've got all the new wide receivers. They're filling holes on the offensive line. Like the LSU offense is a big point of conversation, as it should be. But when LSU is at its best, they're good on defense.
Mm-hmm.
And if they want to, because a lot of people think they are a true national title contender, a lot of people are picking them to win the SEC. Like, if they're going to accomplish that stuff, they got to be better than they were a year ago on defense. They were the 34th ranked defense in SP Plus last season. And they just gave up entirely too many explosive plays. And they brought in a whole lot of transfers in the secondary to address that. And they brought transfers in along the defensive line. Linebackers, you're getting the same guys. You're getting Weeks and Perkins. There, at least that's what a lot of people think. But you've got all these new pieces on the defensive front. You've got all these new pieces in the secondary. And a lot of people just say, oh, well, it's Blake Baker's second year. Here we go. It's all going to be good. Like, how does it all fit together? Does it all fit together? Because if it doesn't, then LSU isn't going to be a true title contender. We've seen them have some elite offenses in the last couple of years, but the defense held them back. And could it be that way again this season? I don't know. But the last time they had an SP plus top 20 defense was 2019. I know everyone remembers the offense, but that defense was pretty dang good too, man.
Yep.
So the track record of teams that win the national title recently is you got to be good on defense. Ohio State last year was the number 2 SP plus defense. Michigan the year before was number 1. Georgia the year before that was number 2. Are you seeing the pattern?
Yep.
So you could talk about Nussmeier and the offense all you want, but if LSU is going to accomplish what a lot of people think they're going to accomplish, they got to be good on defense. And my question is, do all these new pieces, all these guys, like very talented, how does it fit together?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And the good news is we're going to find out right away whenever they play Clemson to start the season. How awesome is that matchup going to be?
It's gonna be there is a which is the real Death Valley controversy brewing. And hey, to Brian Kelly's credit, he is fully leaning into that, and I like it.
Yeah. I mean, they got Clemson, Florida, and Ole Miss before they get out of the month of September.
Ooh.
So that we're going to find out pretty quickly what that defense is. Now, I expect them, because of the transfer guys they brought in, I think they're a defense that's going to get better as the year goes on. I think Weeks will probably have to roll back into before he gets back to, the level he was playing at the end of last season. But I'm with you. I mean, it's all fun and games if Nussmeier's out there throwing around the yard, but if you can't stop some of these other offenses, you're living very dangerously if you expect to go chase for a national championship.
It was interesting looking at the preseason all SEC teams and not seeing a single LSU defensive lineman on it. Just interesting. Like when you think about their best LSU teams, they always have a guy on that D line where you're going, man, that dude is an absolute problem.
I mean, Brian Kelly's been complaining about it since he got there. Like
they're not buying players, Ted. Remember? That was last year. You should have.
Yeah. It's like they know it's an issue and they're doing everything that they can to address it. But it's been difficult. That's a hard spot to get the guys consistently.
But they bring in Patrick Payton. 2 years ago, that dude was a really good player. Can he get back to kind of that level he was 2 years ago? Jack Pyburn, I compared, he's just like a sledgehammer at defensive end. not the twitchiest guy you're going to find, but it's just like a head of concrete.
That's exactly what you think whenever you hear that name.
Dude, it's all these new pieces in this system that's still relatively new. And remember, Blake Baker wants to be aggressive. He wants to take chances. That didn't go particularly well at times a year ago.
Right.
But you've got all these new pieces on the D line and in the secondary. Like, how does it fit? Because if LSU, if they want to play in an SEC championship game and they want to go make a deep run in a college football playoff, they have to be good on defense.
Yeah.
Not okay, good.
And like I said, if they play that game on the road against Clemson, and I don't know what number you pick to say that where they need to hold Clemson, but Clemson and their offense with Klubnik coming back, they're going to be really good. If they have a solid performance against Clemson, I mean, I would say that's a good sign that by the end of the season, I don't know what the ceiling is for that group, but if they can start off on a good solid start, then they may end up being a pretty good unit. And depending on how good Nussmeier in that offense is, maybe that'll be good enough. I think what you said, top 20 is a pretty good. That's a pretty good goal for them. If they can get there, they may be a really dangerous team.
Yeah, if they are a top 20 SP plus defense, they're probably playing for an SEC championship. Maybe. I don't know. They got so many new pieces, man. But I just think that so much of the talks about what's going to happen with Nussmeier in that offense, when I'm kind of sitting here going, what about that defense? Like, you got to be good on defense now to accomplish the goals that the LSU Tigers want to accomplish.
You can't be a one trick pony and make it through a playoff, man. You've got to have a good, balanced, complementary football team.
Yes, sir. Good questions, Ted. Great job.
That was fun. I like that.
I forgot to put them in the rundown, but we do have a couple of birthday shout outs.
Okay.
This first one is happy birthday. Happy 28th birthday to Jacob Carrier. Jacob, you don't turn 28 until October 3rd, but you submitted it, so we're reading it. Happy birthday, man. I appreciate it. Good job. And then happy 11th birthday to Owen Bofferding.
Nice. Happy birthday. Happy 11th. That's a big one. My son's got his 11th coming up.
Jeez, he's going to be 11?
Yeah.
We're getting old, man.
He's already outgrown my shoes. He's got a bigger foot than I do now.
That's awesome. Good for you. Now he can't steal your shoes.
I get his hand-me-downs now.
It's kind of great. On that note, episode 550 in the books. We will have a new episode on Sunday. Our guy, Dusty Dvorak.
Yes.
Ball talk with Double D.
Lot of ball talk.
Lot of ball talk. Big brain on that guy. Big brain ball talk with Dusty Dvorak on Sunday. Just a reminder, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We hope you all have a great rest of your week and an awesome weekend. Until next time, we appreciate you all for listening. Do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.
Boom.